The Alliance of Sahel States has officially begun rolling out its new regional passports to the public, marking a significant step in the bloc's deepening integration. According to official figures, over 100,000 passports have already been printed in Burkina Faso alone since the launch, with public demand reported to be high. The document is seen as a replacement for the ECOWAS passport, which the three countries have distanced themselves from following their withdrawal from the regional bloc. Now, while the AES move has been widely celebrated across Africa as a symbol of self-determination and regional pride, development in Nigeria has triggered a very different kind of public reaction. Just as the AES passport is being rolled out, the Nigerian government announced a sharp increase in their passport fees, effective immediately. The cost of obtaining a standard 32-page passport in Nigeria right now has risen from 50,000 naira to 100,000 naira, while the 64-page booklet now costs a whopping 200,000 naira. Now, the increase has sparked public outrage, especially given that Nigeria's own national minimum wage stands at 70,000 naira per month. Critics argue that the new pricing effectively places international travel beyond the reach of millions of ordinary Nigerians. Government officials, however, say the price hike is necessary to cover production costs and eliminate unofficial charges often paid under the table. In other words, to eliminate bribery and corruption by the officials of the Nigeria Immigration Service. Now, this contrasting development, one aimed at expanding citizen access to travel, the other accused of limiting it, have ignited fresh debate about mobility, class divides, and what sovereignty truly means in an African context. In this report today, we will examine how the AES passport rollout is being received across the Sahel and across the continent, the backlash unfolding in Nigeria, and the broader implications for African integration, identity, and leadership priorities. Let's break it down. The Nigerian passport isn't just one of the most expensive in the world for its own people. It's also one of the weakest. According to the 2025 Henley Passport Index, a Nigerian passport gets you into just 45 countries without a visa, ranking it a dismal 88th place in the world. Now compare that to Seychelles, another African nation whose passport can get you into 156 countries, or Mauritius with 149. Even South Africa gives its citizens access to 103 countries. Now, this creates a clear passport apartheid right here on African continent. You can be from Africa's biggest economy, Nigeria, but have less freedom to travel than someone from a tiny island nation. This global passport hierarchy rewards countries that are politically stable and have good relationships with the West. Nations struggling with conflict, corruption, or who dare to challenge the old colonial powers find their citizens trapped. At the very bottom of this list are countries like Somalia, with access to just 32 destinations, and Libya with only 38. Now, these aren't just numbers. There are millions of dreams for education, business, or just seeing family that are blocked by a piece of paper. On social media, this has created a passport flex culture where influencers from countries with strong passports show off their visa-free travels. But the AES passport is trying to break this system. Instead of trying to please Western powers to climb the global ranks, it focused on building African unity first. With this new passport, citizens of the Alliance of Sahel States can now travel freely between their three nations, building a new kind of mobility based on solidarity, not submission. Now, let me delve into more complicated and controversial matter, because for almost a decade, we've been sold a beautiful dream, the African Union passport, a single unified passport that would allow all Africans to travel freely across all 55 member states. It was launched way back in 2016 with a very huge ceremony and fanfare. Leaders like Paul Kagame were given the first symbolic copies. We were told it would be in our hands by 2020. Then it was pushed to 2023. Now it has been delayed indefinitely. Now this dream is gathering dust. So why has the African Union passport failed to launch in 9 years why the AES passport became a reality in just 2 years? The answer tells you everything you need to know about the difference between revolutionary action and empty promises. The AU passport is a top-down project that needs all 55 countries to agree. Many of these governments don't even trust each other and are terrified of giving up control of their own borders, especially to poorer neighbors. The AES, on the other hand, is a bottom-up alliance built by 3 nations with a shared enemy and a shared revolutionary goal. They trust each other because they fought together against both terrorism and Western interference. The success of the AES passport offers a new path forward. It shows that reintegration doesn't have to wait for everyone. It can be built by smaller blocks of nations who are truly committed to a Pan-African future. Captain Ibrahim Traoré and his allies have proven that when leaders put Africa first, anything is possible. Alright, let's talk numbers now. Because when you see how much African countries are charging for passports compared to what people actually earn, you are going to be shocked. So we already know Nigeria just went completely insane with their 100,000 naira passport fee against a 70,000 naira minimum wage. That's 143% of monthly income. But let me show you how this compares across the continent. And trust me, the picture gets even wider. Kenya charges roughly $50 against a $200 minimum wage. So we are looking at 25%. Expensive, but at least mathematically possible for workers to afford. South Africa is actually doing something reasonable. Their passport costs about $35 against a minimum wage of $233 monthly. So just 15% of their income. That's how it should be across the whole of Africa. But here's where it gets really crazy. Let's compare this to the rest of the world. Because in Germany, a passport costs about 4% of minimum wage. The United States, about 9%. Canada sits at 5%. These are countries where a passport is seen as basic infrastructure for citizenship, not a luxury item. Even looking at passport fees in absolute dollar terms across Africa, Nigeria is becoming one of the most expensive. Cameroon charges around $181. Democratic Republic of Congo charges about $178. But remember, these countries have different economic realities and wage structures. What's really heartbreaking is that countries like Somalia, despite having one of the weakest passports in the world with access to only 32 countries, still charges fees that can represent a huge portion of their people's income. Meanwhile, Seychelles, with the strongest African passport, has managed to keep costs reasonable relative to their citizens' earning power. The pattern is clear. Countries that view passports as tools for citizen empowerment find ways to make them affordable, while countries that see them as revenue generators price out their own very citizens. Nigeria just chose to be in the worst possible category, and their citizens are paying the price. Now, I want to wander off into a dreamland that has been in the mind of a lot of Africans and our Pan-Africanist Kwame Nkrumah himself. Imagine an Africa where you can travel from Lagos to Johannesburg, from Casablanca to Nairobi without ever flashing your ID or stopping at a single border checkpoint. Imagine every single African carrying one powerful African Union passport. Sleek, respected, stamped with the hope of over 1.4 billion Africans. That's not just travel goals, that's world-changing energy. Now, add a single strong currency. You can call it the Afro. No more hustling with shady exchange rates. No more losing value on your Naira or Franc or your Ghana cedis. Whether you are a business owner in Accra or a creative in Kigali, you get to keep more of what you earn and send money anywhere instantly, just like people move cash within Europe. Suddenly, African shops and platforms compete on a global scale with Amazon, Alibaba, or Tesla. We start owning our own brands and setting our own prices. And hold up, that's not the end of my dream. Imagine one united army, like an Africa with one army. No more waiting for foreign peacekeepers or watching outsiders call the shots when conflict erupts. Instead, a force made by Africans for Africans defending the continent's borders, resources, and more importantly, its people. Imagine Imagine no more outside interference, just a strong, united, powerful Africa. Now, this kind of unity would unleash a wave of creativity, investment, and talent from Cape Town to Cairo. Intra-African trade will explode. Students, artists, and entrepreneurs could chase their dreams anywhere on the continent. No paperwork, no visa nightmares, just opportunities and lots of it. The world already knows how unstoppable regional giants can be. China unified and now commands global respect. India, with its 1.4 billion plus population and one single currency with one powerful army, is a force no one ignores. Why not Africa? Imagine an Africa as influential, as bold, as powerful as China or India, with real clout on the global stage. Now, this is the end of my dream. You could keep dreaming in my comment section. Keep dreaming. Tell us the kind of dream you have about a united, strong, powerful Africa. The kind of Africa that Pan-Africanists like Kwame Nkrumah dreamed about, that the West couldn't even imagine him dreaming, and they have to remove him from power. I will tell you the truth. The world fears a united Africa. The world fears a powerful Africa. And that fear is what is leading to the balkanization, the scramble, or what they call the scramble for Africa. It happened in the 1880s. It is now happening in 2025. We can stop this by being a united Africa. If you've watched to this point, this is Frontline Africa, where we talk about geopolitics from Africa's point of view. If you like content like this, consider to subscribe and turn up those notifications so that when next we upload our videos, you should be able to see it and know exactly what is happening in the motherland. I am your host, Ezekiel Enejeta, and I will see you in the next one. It's a bye-bye for now.